All right, let's just jump right in. For years, maybe even decades, we all bought into the same story about how to build a company. You raise a ton of money, you hire a big team, and then you spend months or even years just to see if your idea is any good. Well, you can pretty much tear up that old playbook. A whole new era has started, one that's powered by AI, where a single person can now do the work of an entire team.
For the longest time, this number you're looking at was just the brutal reality of trying to build something new. 90%. That was the accepted failure rate for startups. It was this long, expensive, and honestly pretty soul-crushing journey, and most didn't make it. That was just seen as the price of admission.
And a huge reason for that failure rate was just how long everything took. But what we're seeing now, it's a massive shift. The time it takes to build a minimum viable product, that first working version of your idea, has absolutely collapsed. We're talking about going from about 5 months down to less than 2 weeks. This isn't just a small step up, it's a complete revolution in how fast you can move.
So what was so wrong with the old way? Well, that old playbook was all about raising money first. You had to go out, hat in hand, and convince investors to give you a big pile of cash just so you could afford to hire a team of expensive developers, designers, and marketers. And you had to do all of that just to build a prototype to see if you were even on the right track. And this quote just nails the new mindset, doesn't it? Having a big team isn't a badge of honor anymore. It's not a sign of your company's strength. In this new world, it's actually a liability. It's a huge expense, and it slows you down when speed is the only thing that matters. It's a sign that you're just not being efficient.
So, that brings us to the solution, the hero of this new story, the one-person army. This is the model that's taking over. It's where a single founder, one person, can now move faster and get more done than entire teams stuck in the old way of doing things. And to really get this, we have to completely redefine what we mean by solopreneur. This isn't about some freelancer trying to juggle a bunch of different clients. No, the solopreneur of today, and definitely of the near future, is more like a commander. They're not in the trenches laying every single brick. They are the architect designing the entire cathedral. And then they delegate the actual building to a hybrid army of AI tools and specialized human experts.
So what does this commander actually do all day? Their job really breaks down into 3 key parts. First, strategy and vision. They have to be absolutely obsessed with solving a real problem for a real customer. Second is prompt engineering, which is a fancy way of saying they need to get really good at talking to machines, translating their business goals into instructions an AI can understand. And third, hybrid leadership. This is the art of blending the lightning-fast output of AI with a polish and expertise that only a human can bring.
And when you put these two models side by side, the difference is just staggering. The classic startup has a CEO plus at least 5 full-time employees. This new model, the cybernetic startup, is a fusion. It's just one founder, a few AI subscriptions, and maybe a couple of freelancers for very specific jobs. And the result? Well, you see it right there. That massive jump in speed and efficiency.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, how on earth is any of this actually possible? Well, it's not just some cool theory, it's happening right now because of an incredible toolkit that's growing every single day. We're talking about building a virtual company where entire departments are basically run by AI. Just think about it this way. Need a chief technology officer? That's now an AI coding assistant like Cursor that can help you write, debug, and structure your code. What about your design team? Well, that can be a tool like V0 that generates entire user interfaces from a simple sentence. Even your marketing and customer support teams can be handed over to specialized AIs that can write your content or solve user problems 24/7. This is your new virtual army. But, and this is probably the most important part of this whole thing, it would be a massive, massive mistake to think that AI can just do everything on its own. The real secret here, the formula that actually works, is combining the raw speed and power of AI with the nuance and skill of a human expert. You have to drill this into your head. AI is an incredible accelerator. It gets you 90% of the way there in a tiny fraction of the time. But, and this is critical, it is not a final product. It creates the rough draft, the raw materials, but it can't provide that final human touch, that polish that makes something great. So here's that winning formula, and it's actually a super simple 2-step process. Step 1, generate with AI. Use these tools to create the foundation, the structure, the boilerplate code, and do it in hours, not months. Then, step 2, polish with a freelancer.
You take that 90% done project and hand it over to a human expert for that crucial final 10%, things like security checks, performance tuning, and the kind of creativity that a machine just can't replicate.
Now, this new way of building is incredibly powerful, but it's not without its dangers. If you don't know what you're doing, using AI to build something can be like walking through a minefield. There are some really serious hidden traps that can turn your dream project into a total technical nightmare. You really have to watch out for these three big ones. First, there's the spaghetti code trap. That's where you just copy and paste code from an AI without understanding the architecture, and you end up with a tangled mess that's impossible to fix. Second is the final product illusion, where you build something that looks good and works for one user, but the second you get real traffic, the whole thing just falls apart. And finally, getting lost in tools. This is just shiny object syndrome, where you get so excited about playing with the latest AI tech that you forget to actually solve a problem for your customer. I love this quote because it's so blunt and so true. AI is an infinitely fast but remarkably stupid coder. It will do exactly what you tell it to do, not what you actually mean for it to do. If you don't provide that human oversight and that strategic direction, you're basically building on a ticking time bomb. So let's pull all of this together. What we're really witnessing is the rise of a completely new type of competitor in the digital world. You could call it a new apex predator, one that isn't defined by its size or its funding, but by its pure speed and effectiveness. And this leads to a fundamental change in how we measure a company's value. The old metrics, how many employees you have, how much money you raised, they're becoming obsolete. A company's worth is now being measured by one thing and one thing only: its pure, unadulterated output. And that is what makes this model so incredibly dominant. The cost to try something new, to experiment, has dropped to almost zero. A one-person army can now test dozens of different ideas in the same amount of time it takes a traditional company to test just one. That incredible speed and agility, that's what makes them the true predators in today's market. This incredible fusion of artificial intelligence and human strategy has basically put the power to build a digital empire into the hands of a single person. The old barriers are gone. So the only question that's really left is the one you see right here. Are you ready to take command?